It's time.
Today, I'm sharing an entire marathon of lunches inspired by some of our favorite movies. Movie-themed lunches are always some of my favorite ones to make, and these ones turned out so good. I'm talking about a ton of fun characters, lots and lots of color, and plenty of creative little details. So if you love movies and fun lunches, you are definitely going to love these. But before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below which movie-themed lunch is your favorite. First up, I'm making a lunch idea sent in by Julie from Australia, and she asked if I could make a Minion-themed lunch since the new Despicable Me 4 came out. What? You guys will have to let me know in the comments down below if you've seen this new movie yet. Now, since bananas are known to be one of the Minions' favorite food, I'm going to start by making some banana pudding cups. And I want to go ahead and make these first. That way they're going to have time to chill in the fridge while I get the rest of the lunch ready. And you guys, because this new movie just came out, I was able to find several Minion-themed foods at the grocery store, including these super cute place and bake sugar cookies. Now, usually I only see these around the holidays, like Christmas or Halloween, but these little mini ones are so fun, and of course they're super easy. I'm just gonna pop them into the oven, and while those are baking, I can move on to the main course. Now, Julie from Australia had several great ideas for the main course, but I really liked her idea on making a sandwich. I have made one similar to this years ago, but they're actually really easy. I'm just using some regular sandwich bread, and I'm doing my best to cut it into a minion shape. Now to this, I'm going to add some veggie cream cheese. This is what I like to add for my kiddos that don't like mayo. And the cream cheese really acts like a glue and it helps keep the sandwich together. Next, I'm adding some turkey. Then to the top piece of bread, I'm adding more of that veggie cream cheese, followed by a slice of cheese. Now I tried to find the most yellow slice of cheese that I could because this is supposed to look like a Minion, but this is as good as I could get. Next, to add some details to the top, I'm going to use some nori. Now, not all of my kids like nori, so I have substituted it before by using either salami or I've even used fruit leather. So you could give those a try if you're not a fan either. But today, in addition to the nori, I'm also going to use some mozzarella cheese to help create the Minion face. And you guys, there are so many different types of Minions out there. You can make whatever style you want with 2 eyes or 1 eye. Some have hair, some don't. It's all up to you. Next, for Julie's fruit, she requested some pineapple, so I'll go ahead and add in that. And then she also requested some blueberries on a mini skewer. I'll go ahead and place that right on top and then move on to the veggie. Now in this new movie, there is a new bad guy, but he wears a jacket that is big and green and fluffy, and it definitely reminds me of broccoli, so I'm going to be adding some of that. And then just for fun, I'm adding a couple of cucumber stars as well. Next, for the snack, I was able to find these new Minion goldfish crackers. These are so adorable and I love the little shapes. Now back to the banana pudding. This has chilled and set up a bit, but I do want to go ahead and add some extra banana to the top. So I'm just going to use my little handy dandy slicer to go ahead and do that. Then of course, in this last section, I have just enough space for a couple of those Minion sugar cookies. You guys, these turned out so cute. And I really think the trick to these cookies is to not over bake them. And now finally, I'm gonna finish off this lunch with a special drink. I'm adding some pub juice, which is pineapple, orange, and of course, banana. Lunch requested by Avery from Canada, and she asked if I could make an Inside Out 2 themed lunch. Now, the kids and I did get to go see this new movie at Disney Springs right when it came out, and I have to say we all loved it. You guys have to let me know in the comments down below if you've been able to see this movie yet. Now, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but basically, Riley is older now, so she has some new emotions. Now I want to start by making the sweet treat first, since it's going to take a little bit of time to set up. One of my favorite new characters from this movie is Nostalgia, and whenever it comes to nostalgic treats, I always think of Rice Krispie treats. But this time, instead of using rice cereal, I'm swapping that out for this mini Trix cereal. You guys, these are so fun and colorful, and I really think that the little balls look just like the memory orbs from the movie. And yes, this is just a basic Rice Krispie treat recipe. All I'm doing is swapping out the cereal. Once I have the melted marshmallow mixed in with the cereal, I'm just dumping it onto a cookie sheet to set up. And while that's happening, I can move on to the main course. Avery requested some green pesto pasta, and this is to represent the character Disgust. Now for this, I ended up grabbing some of these goodles. Now this pasta has extra protein, and I really love the fun spiral shape. I'm gonna get this on the stove to boil, and while that's happening, I'm going to make our favorite protein pesto. Now, of course, my kids love pesto just on its own, but what I really like to do recently is add cottage cheese. And I know not everybody likes cottage cheese, but trust me, if you blend it out nice and smooth, you really just get a nice pesto-y, cheesy sauce, and it doesn't taste just like cottage cheese anymore. Once the pasta is cooked and drained, I like to add in this sauce while it's still nice and hot. Okay, and sometimes I like to stir in an extra splash of milk, and this just gives the sauce more of a mac and cheese-like texture. Now to go with this, I'm also going to be making a Riley sandwich. And since we know Riley loves pizza, I'm going to add some pizza seasoning to my cream cheese before I spread it onto the bread. Then I'm just going to add a few slices of pepperoni. Next, to represent the character Joy, Avery requested pineapple, so I'm going to add that. And to represent the character Sadness, Avery requested blueberries. Now to represent anger, I'm going to add some red bell peppers that I cut into stars. And then to represent anxiety, I'm just adding some crinkle cut carrots. Next, for the purple character of fear, I'm going to be adding a few of these blueberry almonds. And even though these say blueberry flavored, I think they look purple. So now that these treats are all set up, I can go ahead and pop them out of the pan and cut them up. And look how fun and colorful these turned out. Now I'm just gonna add some tiny pieces in here. And then right in this corner, I'm going to fit our Riley sandwich. Now for the drink, Avery requested something teal colored, so I'm going with this pineapple passion fruit one. This next lunch is going to be all about the bad guys of the overworld. I'm going to start by making a loaded chicken salad for a very interesting sandwich. So to my shredded chicken, I'm going to start by adding the basics: mayonnaise, finely chopped celery, and just a touch of onions as well. And now comes the good stuff. I'm also adding some crumbled bacon, some shredded cheddar cheese, and some ranch seasoning. So yes, basically this is a bacon ranch chicken salad. That's right, if you guessed chicken jockey, you'd be right. When the Minecraft movie first came out during this scene, I heard that some people were throwing popcorn and making all kinds of noise in the theater, but thankfully, by the time we got to see the movie, there was no popcorn chaos at all. For the fruit in this lunch, I'm making something a little bit spooky, but a whole lot of fun, and I'm calling these zombie grapes. I'm just combining some green grapes with a little bit of strawberry jelly, not too much, just enough to give them that creepy, gooey zombie look. This is such a fun but not too gross way to represent the zombies in Minecraft. I'm also adding a little spider cupcake ring to go with them. And now for the veggies. First, I'm going to add some sliced cucumber, and I'm going to arrange them to look like grass blocks. These are green, they're square, and they fit perfectly with that Minecraft aesthetic. But then right on top, I'm going to place a few arrows that I cut out of some huge carrots. Now there are several different types of arrows in Minecraft, but these ones are meant to look like the kind that the skeletons use. And speaking of skeletons, I'm also adding in a small handful of these white cheese puffs. I think they kind of look like skeleton bones. Oh yes, and this lunch is also getting one of those Minecraft yogurt tubes. And now for the sweet treat. Keeping with our Minecraft bad guy theme, I found the perfect cookie. These are ready to go place and bake sugar cookies that already come with the little creeper face right on them. So quick, so easy, but so fun. And that brings me to a confession time. You guys, for the longest time, I didn't even realize that creepers were actually considered bad guys in Minecraft. To me, they always kind of looked cute and blocky, but apparently they can sneak up on you in the game and explode. And according to my kids, they can also be quite destructive. So now that I know all about creepers, they totally fit in this mob-themed lunch. And now to finish off this lunch, I'm adding another fun store find. These are Minecraft themed lemon lime poppy drinks. Okay guys, next up is a classic Christmas movie, A Christmas Story. And you guys, I would love to know in the comments down below how many of you have actually seen this movie. This was super popular when I was a kid, but my kids haven't actually seen this movie yet. Now, just like our last movie-inspired lunch, I'm starting out this one by making the treat first. And of course, for this movie, the treat has to be fudge. Now, if you've seen this movie, you'll know exactly why I say that. But for this, I'm just using a super simple 2-ingredient fudge recipe. You literally just have to melt together 2.5 cups of chocolate chips with 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. Now I'm just zapping this in the microwave for 30 seconds at a time, stirring in between until it's all melted together. When it is melted together, it should look something like this. And you guys, at this point, you could add in some marshmallows or some nuts. That would be super tasty. But today I'm keeping it simple. I'm going to go ahead and spread this out just as is. But then to make it a little bit more Christmassy, I'm going to sprinkle on just a few red and green mini M&Ms. And now I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the fridge so it can set up while I'm making the rest of the lunch. For the main course of this lunch, I wanted to do something with meatloaf, even though I know not everyone is a fan of meatloaf. So with this meatloaf, I thought it would be really fun to make a bunny-shaped meatloaf sandwich. Now personally, I like a meatloaf sandwich. And this one is of course extra cute because of the bunny shape, and this is to represent the bunny suit that the main character Ralphie has to wear.
There's those 2 fluffy little bunnies with the blue button eyes stared sappily up at me. Come down here so I can see you better. I just hope that Flick would never spot. As the word of this humiliation could easily
Now moving on to the fruit. For this, I'm just adding some watermelon in the shape of a leg lamp.
It was indeed a lamp. What a great lamp.
And then to go along with this, I'm also adding in some coleslaw, since they have red cabbage with their dinner in this movie. And the same thing goes for the mashed potatoes. And then you guys, last but not least, just a tiny piece of the fudge. Okay friends, I'm kicking things off with Stitch's Out of This World lunch, complete with a pizza grilled cheese. Now honestly, I can't remember a ton of food being in either version of Lilo and Stitch, but in this new version, there is a scene where Lilo and Nani are sitting down together for some classic pizza. And you guys, they are not having Hawaiian pizza. There was no pineapple in sight. So keeping that in mind, I'm making this sandwich with just pizza sauce, mozzarella cheese, and some turkey pepperoni. Now to give this sandwich a Stitch vibe, I'm using my favorite new grilled cheese maker. This one is from Amazon, and honestly, I've tried a ton of kitchen gadgets and waffle makers over the years, and I can say that this one actually works. It gets the sandwich perfectly crispy on the outside, it melts the cheese nicely on the inside, plus it leaves a cute Stitch design on the front and the back, which you know I love. Now let's talk about the sides. For the fruit, I'm making some cantaloupe stars. And this is because Stitch is technically an alien from a different galaxy. But then for the veggies, I'm putting together some flying saucers using sliced cucumbers and cherry tomatoes. And to make these even more adorable, I'm going to add some tiny alien food picks. Next, for a crunchy snack, I'm adding some space balls, and these are kind of like a healthier version of Cheetos. They're crunchy and cheesy and go super well with this lunch. And of course, because these are special lunches, I do want to include a sweet treat. First, I found the cutest Lilo and Stitch fruit snacks. I'm going to add one of these on the side. And then to finish off this out of this world lunch, I'm making a Dole Whip inspired float. Now, instead of just using pineapple soft serve, I actually found a pineapple sherbet that also has hints of lime and orange. This is super sweet, it's citrusy, and totally fits our tropical vibe. I'm going to add 1 scoop to each cup, and then I'm gonna pour some pineapple juice right over the top, just like a Dole Whip float that you might find at Disneyland or Disney World. And now to really take this over the top, I'm going to add some pineapple skewers right to the top. Next up, I'm making a Harry Potter inspired lunch. Now, of course, in our house, we are huge Harry Potter fans, but recently, Griffin has really been getting into the movies. During summer break, we've kind of been having a Harry Potter marathon, and we've been rewatching all of the movies together. And since last night we watched Harry Potter 3, I want this lunch to include a night bus inspired sandwich. But before I make the main course, I do need to start with the sweet treat first again, because it's going to take some time in the oven. Now, we love all things butterbeer, so I'm gonna make some butterbeer cake mix cookies. These are so easy and they're so good. If you love butterscotch or toffee flavored foods, you're probably gonna love these too. This is just 1 yellow cake mix, and to this I'm adding 1 small box of butterscotch instant pudding. I'm gonna go ahead and whisk those together. Then I'm adding 2 eggs, 1 stick of melted butter, and then this part is optional, but I'm also adding 1 teaspoon of rum extract. Now you could just use vanilla if that's what you have on hand. Now I'm gonna give this a mix. Then I'm going to finish this off with just half a cup of butterscotch chips, followed by half a cup of Heath toffee bits. And then to balance out the sweetness, I'm adding just a pinch of salt. Once that's all mixed together, I'll form these into balls and bake them at 350 for about 8 to 10 minutes. And you guys, you do not want to overcook these because as they cool down, they will set up even more. The bottom gets nice and crispy with these, but the center stays soft. These cookies are super buttery and a bit salty, and I just love the crunchy toffee bits. Now, honestly, I think these taste better than the butterbeer at Universal. So now back to the main course. We tried so many unique sandwiches when we visited the UK. We found things like chicken and mango chutney, we found cheese and pickle, prawn and mayo, but one sandwich that Griffin really liked when we were there was called a bacon buddy. Now this was just buttered bread with some uncrispy bacon and a little bit of ketchup. So that's what I'm trying to recreate for him today. Next, to represent Hufflepuff, I'm going to add some pineapple. And to represent Ravenclaw, I'm adding some blueberries. For the veggie, I'm adding some carrot stuffed cucumbers, and these are going to get an H for Harry. And then for a salty snack on the side, I picked up some bugles. Only this time, I was able to find the ranch flavored ones. Now, I know that ranch isn't really a popular thing in the UK, but that's okay because we love ranch. And these bugles really do look like a little witch or wizard hat, and that makes them perfect for a Harry Potter lunch. And then right next to those, I'm going to add a couple of those butterbeer cookies. Then last but not least, for the drink, I'm just adding some gilly water. Okay friends, moving on to lunch number 2, and this one is all about Captain Hook. He's the mean, dramatic pirate from Peter Pan, and he has a serious grudge against ticking clocks and Crocs. Now for this lunch, I'm actually starting with the sweet treat first, and I found the cutest cereal for a Captain Hook theme. These are called Marshmallow Mateys. Now they're kind of like Lucky Charms, but instead the marshmallows are pirate shapes, and then the cereal pieces are actually shaped like little anchors. I'm gonna go ahead and make a small batch of cereal treats because I know I do not need a full batch in my house. So to do this, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of butter and 1 1/4 cups of mini marshmallows to my microwave safe bowl. And I'll throw this in my microwave until everything is melted and gooey. Then I'll mix it all up and add in 1 cup of that Marshmallow Mateys cereal. Now once that's all combined, I'll dump it onto a greased plate and try my best to shape it into one large cereal treat that I'll go ahead and cut later. Now I'll set this aside to cool and firm up while we move on to the main course. and I need to make something hearty enough for a hungry pirate. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make Jackson a big sandwich, but I'm keeping things nice and simple. Once I've got my bread ready, I'll add 1 slice of Colby Jack cheese, then I'll add a few slices of ham, and then Jackson is not a big fan of soggy bread. So this is where I'm going to go ahead and add a little squirt of mustard. Then I'm going to top that with 1 more slice of Colby Jack cheese. And of course, I have to finish off this sandwich with a Captain Hook design. Now moving on to the fruit. I don't know how I lucked out with a delicious watermelon, but this one is perfectly ripe. I'm gonna go ahead and use my melon baller to make some little cannonballs. These are perfect for a pirate lunch. And then to go along with that, I'm also going to add in some golden pineapple. You know, gold like you might find in a treasure chest. But not everything in this lunch is treasure. Captain Hook has one big fear, and that's crocodiles. So I'm gonna have a little bit of fun and slice up some cucumbers using my crocodile cookie cutter. That's a bunch of TikTok Crocs. Now all I have to do is fit them into the lunchbox. And I'm not going to forget the ranch. In this section of the lunchbox, I'm adding a salty snack, and this time I decided to go with the Snap Pea Crisps. These are crunchy, they're delicious, and if you squint a little bit, I think they could pass for a pirate sword. And now right next to those, I have just enough space for our marshmallow matey treats. Now as you can see, these are mostly set up. They're still a little bit squishy and a little bit gooey, but that's exactly how we like them. I think a dry cereal treat is a crime. And speaking of sweetness, when my kids were little, they used to love watching a show called Jake and the Neverland Pirates. Now Captain Hook was in that cartoon too, and it seems like they were always on the hunt for gold doubloons. These are actually chocolate gold coins. I'm gonna tuck them into this lunch for Jackson to find. Now, of course, Jackson is a little bit older now, but I think he'll still get a kick out of this. And now, to finish off this Captain Hook lunch, I had to include a pirate's favorite snack, pirate booty. Crunchy, cheesy, and totally on theme. And then finally, for the drink, I'm adding a Roarin' Waters Capri Sun. It's refreshing, it's easy, and let's be honest, it just sounds like something a pirate would drink while sailing the high seas. Now, in the Barbie movie, you're gonna find a lot of different types of Barbies that all have different types of jobs and hobbies. And of course, one of the things that I love to do is travel, so I really fell in love with this travel Barbie that I found at Target. I think she is so fun. She comes with a travel backpack and a rolling suitcase. She's got her neck pillow and her headphones. And of course, all of these things are on my travel packing list too. And speaking of girls who travel, this Barbie totally reminds me of one of my favorite Japan vloggers that I watch every single week. Her name is Sunday Love. And if you are at all interested in Japan, definitely go check out her channel. I will link it down below. And you guys, if you go check her out, let her know that I sent you. For the main course of this lunch, I'm going to put together a sandwich that looks like a Barbie suitcase. For the filling, I'm putting together something that I make all the time, and it's kind of like a buffalo ranch chicken salad. And there's not really a recipe, I kind of just eyeball this. I like to add ranch dressing instead of mayo. After that, I like to add just a drizzle of buffalo sauce because I don't like things too spicy. To make this creamy and cheesy, I like to add 1 or 2 of these Laughing Cow cheeses. Next, I'm adding in some onion powder. Sometimes I like to add fresh green onions, but I don't have any today. And then lastly, I'm just adding some salt and pepper. Now this makes a delicious sandwich filling. It's just a little bit spicy, but it's also really good if you just heat it up without any bread, and then you can eat it kind of like a buffalo chicken dip. Next, for the fruit, I'm cutting up both watermelon and cantaloupe into airplane shapes. This is of course to go with the travel Barbie theme. And for the veggie, I'm adding some celery sticks. For the one on top, I'm going to actually fill that one with peanut butter. And then right on the top, I'm also adding some carrots to spell out Barbie. And you guys, the peanut butter kind of glues the letters in place, so they shouldn't fall off in the lunchbox. On the side, I'm adding some chunks of mozzarella cheese. And then for the sweet treat, I picked up some of these circus animal cookies. But keeping with the Barbie theme, I'm only adding the pink ones. For the drink, I just added some nice cold water to our Barbie thermos. Now moving on to another one of our favorite Christmas movies, Elf. When I think about food from this movie, I automatically think of the elf pasta that Buddy makes for himself. To his spaghetti, Buddy adds M&Ms, marshmallows, chocolate syrup, more candy, and then crushed up fudge Pop-Tart. Now obviously this is a ton of sugar.
We elves try to stick to the 4 main food groups: candy, candy canes, candy corns, syrup.
Now I didn't want to really make elf pasta for the main course of this lunch. Instead, I am going to make an elf pasta inspired treat to go along with the lunch. Now I'll go ahead and add a link down below to the exact recipe I'm using for these in case you want to make them for yourself. But basically this has a lot of the same ingredients as Buddy's pasta, but instead of using pasta, I'm using crunchy chow mein noodles to make kind of a haystack style treat. So now I'm going to set these in the fridge to harden up while I make the rest of the lunch. For the actual main course, I'm going to be making a super simple elf hat quesadilla using a green tortilla, some cheese, and some roast beef.
You stink. Not like beef and cheese. You don't smell like Santa.
Okay, good.
Now after that's all melted together, I'm going to go ahead and cut this into an elf hat shape. And then to the top, I'm adding just a bit of cheddar cheese to look like the hat's band. And then a little piece of bell pepper for the feather. Now for the fruit, I'm going to make some Santa hat strawberries, since we know Buddy loves Santa. And for the veggies, I'm putting together some cucumber and carrot Christmas trees. These are so fun, but really easy to make. And then of course, last but not least, I'm adding just one of the elf pasta treats on the side. And there you have it, guys, an elf-inspired lunch.
You did it! Congratulations!
Okay guys, next up is a lunch I am super excited to make, and that's because it's a Jurassic Park theme. This request comes from Grayson from Texas, and he actually didn't say what food to put in this lunch just to make it a Jurassic Park theme. So I decided to start with the dessert first. I recently picked up this brownie mix at Walmart and I thought it would be perfect for this lunch. This box comes with the mix itself, but it also comes with dino bone shaped sprinkles and these little spoons that are shaped like shovels. Now basically you just make the brownie mix with your oil, your water, and your eggs. Now once that's mixed all together, you just pour it into your pan, and then the instructions say to add half of the sprinkles. You're supposed to mix these into the batter, and then the rest of the sprinkles just go on top. Now once the brownies are baked and cooled, the idea is that you can go digging around in the brownies with your little spoon shovel, and you get to kind of excavate the dino bones in the brownies. I think this is such a cute idea and would be perfect for birthday parties. So now for the main course, I was able to find these Jurassic Park chicken nuggets, and I'm just going to add some of these to my air fryer. Now while those are cooking, I'm going to move on to the fruit and veggies. First, I'm going to cut up some watermelon, and I want these to kind of look like watermelon fries. To go along with those, I'm also adding some green grapes. And then over on the other side, I'm going to add some celery, some carrots, and some cherry tomatoes. Now to go along with the dino nuggets, I'm going to throw together some simple mashed potatoes. Now, of course, you could make these from scratch, but I'm going for easy today. Now, I'm going to take these mashed potatoes and I'm going to try to mound them up on the plate so it kind of looks like a volcano. Next, I'm going to add just a few pieces of broccoli all around my potato volcano. And after that comes the fun part. I'm just going to place a few of these dino nuggets in the mashed potatoes just like they're standing around the volcano. Now on the side, I have just enough space for these Jurassic Park crackers. And as you can see, they claim to be dinosaur approved. But honestly, you guys, I don't think that these crackers really look like dinos at all. And I do have to say that at least half of this bag came broken. And now you guys, I could not put together a Jurassic Park themed lunch without adding some kind of green jello. I feel like that's such an iconic moment from the original movie. Now, I remember watching this part as a kid and I was so scared. You guys will have to let me know in the comments down below if you've ever seen the original Jurassic Park movie. I still think that one is the best, and I think as a kid it was really scary.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Okay guys, this week I'm kicking things off with a lunch idea that has been requested for a long time, and that would be a Harry Potter lunch. Now you guys probably know I am a huge Harry Potter fan. Now actually I was planning on making this lunch last week for Mackenzie's birthday week of lunches, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll go ahead and link it down below so you can check it out. But the reason I ended up not making it last week is because I was waiting for this. Check it out, you guys. This is the unofficial Harry Potter cookbook. Now, I found this on Amazon, hashtag not sponsored. And if you are a true Harry Potter fan and you love cooking, this is such a fun book. If you'd like to see me make more Harry Potter themed lunches or recipes in the future, let me know in the comments down below. So now back to today's lunch. Now for this lunch, I actually started by making the special treat last night, just so it would have enough time to set up. For this special treat, I only needed one ingredient, which is chocolate. And to make it even easier, I went ahead and picked up some of these Wilton candy melts instead of just regular chocolate. So now all I had to do was add these little chocolate pieces to a microwave safe bowl. And once it was nice and smooth, it was time to add this chocolate to this really fun frog-shaped silicone mold. That's right, you guys, I'm making some classic Harry Potter chocolate frogs. Now, I actually found this mold on Amazon, but I've never used it before, so I'm hoping that these frogs turn out nice. Now, I did go ahead and wash this pan, and I made sure it was completely dry before I added any chocolate. And you guys, to make it a little bit easier to get the chocolate into the mold, I did add the chocolate to a piping bag. You could also just use a Ziploc bag for this. And that really did make it easier to get the chocolate into these little delicate pieces. And you guys, anytime I'm working with batter or melted chocolate, I do like to tap gently on the tray just to get out any air bubbles that might be trapped inside. So there you have it, guys, a very easy two-step process for making chocolate frogs. Now this chocolate will harden up pretty quickly, but since I made these the night before, I just stuck them in the fridge. Okay guys, so now that it's the next day, I'm ready to put together the rest of the lunch. So for this sandwich today, I decided to go ahead and use some of this naan-style sandwich bread. This naan bread is fluffy, it's also a little bit chewy, it makes an excellent sandwich. And of course, I like that the bread is already round and it's nice and sturdy, which is exactly what I want for today's sandwich. So as you can see, I already started by adding a thin layer of cream cheese to each piece of bread. And then for the sandwich filling itself, I'm adding a couple of slices of roast beef. On top of that, I'm adding one slice of English style cheddar cheese, and then I'm going to top it all off with just a few slices of English cucumber. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this up, but I'm not quite done with the sandwich yet. I'm actually going to be adding one more layer to this, kind of like an open-faced sandwich. So on the top piece here, I'm going to add one more thin layer of cream cheese. Then on top of that, I'm going to add a big 9 followed by a small 3 and a small 4 to make it 9 3/4. Now, of course, this 9 3/4 is in reference to platform 9 3/4, which is where you can find the Hogwarts Express. Because I wanted these numbers to be darker in color, I actually made them by cutting out pieces of pumpernickel bread, since it is nice and dark. Now, my kids have never tried pumpernickel bread, so I'm not quite sure if they're going to like it. You guys will have to let me know in the comments down below if you're a fan of pumpernickel bread or not. So there you have it, guys. I think the kids are going to love these sandwiches, and I think they turned out super cute. So now that I have the main course done, I can move on to the rest of the lunch. Now for the fruit today, I'm going to add a combination of both blueberries, of course to represent the Ravenclaw house colors, and raspberries, which of course represent the Gryffindor house colors. I'm just going to fill up this section with both berries, and then to add even more Harry Potter flair to this lunch, I also have some really cute cupcake rings I want to add in. Now you guys let me know in the comments down below which Hogwarts house you think you would be sorted in. Then in the back here, I'm going to go ahead and fill up this section with edamame. Of course, that bright green color definitely represents the house of Slytherin. And I'm just going to top the edamame with a few pieces of carrot. I went ahead and cut out an H and a P, symbolizing Harry Potter. I think that looks so awesome, but it's definitely something my kids would enjoy eating as well, which is pretty important for this lunch. Next up, I'm going to be adding today's snack. I thought it'd be really funny, since this is a Harry Potter themed lunch after all, to add some cheese puffs. These of course remind me of Hufflepuff House, and they are the perfect color as well, so I'm just going to add in a handful of these. And then for the treat section, of course I'm going to break out those chocolate frogs that I made yesterday. Now these didn't come out perfectly, I definitely lost a couple of frog toes, but overall they're still really cute, and I know the kids are going to love them. Now for each lunch, I'm just going to add in one of these chocolate frogs, and that's because I want to leave room for some gummy snakes. I feel like you can't make a Harry Potter themed lunch without some kind of snake, right? Since Harry Potter himself knows how to talk to snakes, and most importantly, the snake is a symbol of Slytherin house. Now, these little gummies are actually called twin snakes because in the package you actually get two stuck together. Now, to finish off this lunch, I'm also adding in a special Harry Potter themed drink, but I'm not making butterbeer. Instead, I'm gonna make a drink that I'm calling gillyweed juice, and that's because this drink is bright green. Of course, gillyweed is from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. The first ingredient for this drink is some of this no sugar added orange flavor fruit drink. Now this is actually a drink concentrate, and I found it in the British section of my grocery store, but to make this green, I'm going to mix it with some of this green Gatorade. Now I know that might sound weird, but trust me, it's actually a really tasty combination. It's basically orange plus lime. Then I'm going to fill up the rest of this bottle with some sparkling water, just to add a little bit of fizz. And there you have it, guys. Check it out. This gillyweed juice is delicious and refreshing. Plus, I think that bright green color is perfect for a Harry Potter lunch. And there you have it, you guys. Now, I would love to make an entire week of Harry Potter themed lunches in the future. So let me know in the comments down below if that would be something you would be interested in seeing. To make a Little Mermaid themed lunch. That worked out really well because I finally got to take my girls to go see the new movie. Now, I do have to say that I was a little bit skeptical when I saw what they did to Flounder and Sebastian. But honestly, you guys, we love this movie. And you guys, I would love to know in the comments down below how many of you have already seen this new movie. So now back to the lunch. For the main course, I knew I wanted to make some shell mac and cheese. But out of all the different kinds of shell mac and cheese that I have, I decided to go with this extreme cheddar version. This one is super cheesy, and I always like to add a little extra milk to mine to make it a little bit more saucy. And now, just for fun, I'm going to take one of my flour cupcake toppers, and I'm just going to decorate the top of the mac and cheese. Next, for the fruit, I decided to go with some blueberries, and then to go on top, I just took an apple, and I used a cookie cutter to cut out a little seagull shape. And of course, this is to represent Scuttle from the movie. For the veggies, first I'm cutting some cucumbers into crinkle sticks. I really love the way that these look like seagrass. And then right on top of those, to represent Flounder, I've just cut up some carrots into little fish shapes. Next, I'll add some ranch on the side. And then, to represent Ariel, I'm going to put together a Little Mermaid tea sandwich with some chive cream cheese and cucumber slices. Next up, for a sweet treat, I was able to find these 2 adorable cookies at Target. You guys let me know which one of these cookies you like the best, but because I do want to represent Sebastian in this lunch, I'm going to go with the crab cookie. And then finally, for the drink, I'm putting together an Ursula-inspired mocktail. First, I'm adding a few frozen blueberries. Next, I'm adding plenty of ice. Next, I'm adding some cranberry juice with grape juice. Then I'm topping that off with a little bit of sparkling black raspberry LaCroix. So it's sweet, but it's also tart and very dark. And there you have it, guys. That is everything in this Little Mermaid inspired lunch. Now that brings me to lunch number 3. And friends, this one is themed after my personal favorite Disney villain. And if you guessed Lotso from Toy Story 3, you'd be absolutely right. Now sadly, he's not part of the new villains show that we went to, but he's still my fave. Lotso is pink, fluffy, and he smells sweet like strawberries, but don't let that fool you. He's actually one shady teddy bear. And fun fact, you guys, Lotso is actually really popular at Tokyo Disneyland. In fact, on our last trip to Japan, we even got to visit a Lotso-themed restaurant, and you guys, it was awesome. So of course, because this is a Lotso-themed lunch, we're gonna be having lots of pink foods, lots of berries, and of course, lots of strawberry-flavored foods too. I'm putting this lunch together with my daughter Lily in mind, and one of her all-time favorite sandwich combos includes crunchy bear peanut butter, with some sweet strawberry bear jam. So now that our Lotso sandwich is ready, we can go ahead and move on to the fruit because you know strawberries are coming next. I'm gonna go ahead and add those right over here, and then to garnish the top, I'm gonna cut some cucumbers into little blossoms. Next, I'm adding a little cutie orange. I'll go ahead and peel this to make it easy for Lily to eat. And then to make it extra fun, I'm popping in a little sun-themed cupcake ring right in the center. Next, for the veggies, I'm keeping things super simple. I'm just gonna add a little green salad, but to make this more Lotso approved, I'm going to cut his name out of a slice of cheese, and then I'm going to place it right on top of the salad. Now, believe it or not, I'm not adding ranch at this point. I did go ahead and pick up a strawberry vinaigrette for Lily to try. Now, honestly, I think this fits Lotso's personality perfectly. At first, he might seem sweet, but he definitely has a sour side. Now, to add a little bit more protein to this lunch, I'm also going to add a few slices of deli ham. But then back to the Lotso theme, I'm also gonna throw in some Teddy Grahams. Now, I looked everywhere for strawberry flavored ones, but I could not find them, so I'm just gonna add the plain ones. Now I do have a couple more things that I'd like to tuck on the side. First up, I have some Baby Bell cheese, and I'm going to punch a tiny strawberry design into the wax right on top. Now that's because Lotso is famously strawberry scented. And since his full name is technically Lotso Hug and Bear, I'm also going to add just a few little hugs on the side. And then if Lily wants something a little extra, I do have some strawberry fig bars. She can have this with her lunch or save it for later. And now I'll finish off this lunch with some strawberry lemonade. Okay guys, the first lunch theme that Mackenzie requested was Turning Red. Now I have to admit, the kids have watched this on Disney Plus, but I'd never seen this movie myself prior to planning this lunch. So I actually ended up watching this video on YouTube just so I would kind of know what this movie was about. Now let me know in the comments down below if you've ever seen this movie before. I'm gonna start by preheating Mackenzie's thermos with some boiling hot water. And for her main course, I'm gonna be making two different things. To go in the thermos, I'm going to heat up some of these frozen soup dumplings. I know that there are dumplings in this movie, and we recently tried these ones from Target, and they are so good. These ones have pork and ginger, lots of garlic, and these are the type that you can actually just steam in your microwave. And that's great if you're like me and you don't have one of those traditional steamer baskets. So now that these are piping hot, I'm going to get them into Mackenzie's thermos and then move on to one of her favorite little tea sandwiches, and that includes thinly sliced cucumbers. Now the trick to this is to go ahead and cut them as thin as you can, and then I like to let them sit on a paper towel for a few minutes. That way they won't get the sandwich all soggy. Next, I'm going to cut out the bread with this panda-shaped sandwich cutter, and then each slice of bread is getting a thin layer of onion and herb spread. Okay, you guys, it's time to see if the stamp worked or not. That's not too bad, I just missed a little bit on the edge. This still turned out really cute. Now before I add the sandwich to the lunchbox, I'm going to add a layer of these Harvest Pea Crisps. These come in lots of different flavors, but we love the wasabi ranch flavored ones. They are super tasty, but just a little bit spicy. Like they're not as spicy as Flaming Hot Cheetos. They're more mild than that. Moving on to the fruit, I'm just cutting up some oranges, some strawberries, and some grapes, and I'm going to try to arrange these as aesthetically as possible. Next, for the veggie, I'm combining sugar snap peas and some carrots. I'm just trimming the tough bits off of the ends of the peas. They'll also fit a lot better this way too. And then for the carrots, I thought it would be really cute to go ahead and spell out Four Town, which I'm told is the boy band from this movie. Next, for a sweet treat, I'm adding these little panda cookies. And then you guys, since this is a special birthday lunch, I'm also including a very special Pand-Aid drink. And this is going to be kind of a DIY version of a drink that you can actually buy in the Canada section of Epcot. Now, the star of this drink has to be the strawberry boba pearls. Now, these aren't chewy like regular boba. Instead, these ones are actually filled with a fruity liquid that bursts when you bite into them. I think they kind of look like fish eggs, but thankfully they don't taste like fish eggs. Now, to make this panned aid, I'm also adding this pineapple passion fruit drink. And then just like the drink at Epcot, I'm also going to be adding some coconut milk to make it a bit creamy. Next up, Mackenzie asked me for another Encanto themed lunch. Now, Encanto is still one of Mackenzie's favorite movies. When I made an Encanto themed lunch last year, I actually tried making the arepas like the ones in the movie for the first time. These were super cheesy and delicious. But for this Encanto lunch, I'm going to be making something a bit quicker and easier to put together, and this one's all about the butterfly. For Mackenzie's main course, I'm going to make some PB&J roll-ups. First, I just cut off all the crust, then I rolled the bread a little bit flatter. Next, I'm adding a very thin layer of peanut butter and a thin layer of apricot jam. And you guys, when I say thin, I mean thin, because I know from experience, if you add too much peanut butter or jelly, it's just going to squish right out of the bread when you go to roll them up. Now, I also think that these are a lot easier to cut if they've been chilled. So I'm just going to pop these into the fridge while I cut up some fruit.
Five minutes later.
Now, keeping with that butterfly theme, I'm just going to take each one of these little roll-ups and I'm going to fit them together inside of my cookie cutter. Next, I can go ahead and add in the cantaloupe, watermelon, and cucumbers, also in the shape of a butterfly. And then to go along with this, I'm also cutting up some kiwi and a strawberry. This lunch is getting lots of fresh fruits and veggies. To go along with this, in a separate Encanto container, I'm going to add some butterfly-shaped crackers. And next to that, I'm adding some butterfly-shaped pepper jack cheese. Now that Mackenzie's getting older, she is definitely enjoying more of these spicier foods. For a little bit of sweetness, I'm also adding some of these strawberry yogurt pretzels. These kind of look like butterflies to me. And then for the special drink, I'm just gonna combine some limeade with coconut milk. This is going to make a sweet, tart, and refreshing drink. Now, in this video, we're going from oldest to youngest, which means that Jackson's lunch is up next. For Jackson, we're going with a Star Wars theme since Star Wars Day is coming up. And that, of course, is May the 4th. For his main course, I'm going to put together an eggless breakfast sandwich using this adorable Grogu waffle maker and some biscuit mix.
A few moments later.
Okay guys, so now that the waffles are done and they're cooled down, I'm going to add on some ham and some pepper jack cheese. Jackson does not like any kind of sauce, no mayonnaise, no mustard, none of that. He just wants it plain. Next, for his fruit, I'm just gonna add in a kiwi. I feel like this goes really well with a Star Wars theme, and they're Jackson's favorite fruit these days. And then for the veggie, I'm adding both carrot sticks and celery sticks, and the idea is that these represent lightsabers. For a crunchy snack, I was able to find these Star Wars goldfish at my local Target. These ones have the regular fish shapes mixed with Mandalorian themed shapes as well. And I have to admit, I've seen all of the Star Wars movies, but I have not seen one episode of The Mandalorian. Next, for the sweet treat, I'm going super easy and kind of cheesy by adding some of these store-bought mini cinnamon buns, which are also from Target. And you guys, these are to represent Princess Leia's hairdo. For Jackson's drink, he's just getting some water in his Star Wars cup. And then I also need to pack Jackson a little after-school snack. So for this, I'm going to use this really cute snack tower, but I'm just going to use 2 sections. In the big section, I'm going to add some jerky sticks. And then in the small one, I'm adding some Baby Bell cheese. I'm kicking things off with my personal all-time favorite Christmas movie, which is Home Alone, the original. Now there's actually quite a lot of food in this movie, but it's not necessarily super healthy or anything like that. When I think of the movie Home Alone, I automatically think of cheese pizza. So that's exactly what I'm going to make for the main course of this lunch. Now you guys, I am going to be cheating a little bit here by using some ready-made thin crust pizza dough, but to really make this Home Alone themed, I'm going to cut the crust into house shapes. So to this flatbread, I'm going to add just a bit of sauce, and then we cannot forget the cheese. Now, if you are a fan of Home Alone, you'll know exactly why I'm just adding cheese and no other toppings.
He started it. He ate my pizza on purpose. He knows I ate sausage and olives.
Now I'm going to pop these into the oven for about 10 minutes or until the cheese is melted.
A lovely cheese pizza just for me.
Now, I don't remember seeing much fruit in this movie, but I do remember seeing Kevin buy orange juice while shopping for himself. So for this lunch, I'm going to go ahead and add some little mandarin oranges. And of course, the same thing goes for veggies. I don't remember seeing many veggies in this movie. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add some cucumber strips and some carrots as well to spell out Kevin. Now, as far as snacks go, in the movie, a bag of crunch taters can be seen. But as far as I know, they stopped making crunch taters back in the 90s. So instead, I'm going to add just a regular potato chip bag on the side. And then, since I know that ice cream sundaes are a big deal in this movie and Home Alone 2, I thought a mini ice cream sundae would be the perfect thing to finish off this lunch.
Junk and watching rubbish. You better come out and stop me.
He'll call you when he gets out.
For this, I'm using one of these cute little ice cream cups. This pack comes with both chocolate and vanilla. I've decided to go with the vanilla. And then to this ice cream, I'm going to be adding plenty of toppings like mini marshmallows, chocolate sauce, caramel sauce, whipped cream, plenty of Christmas sprinkles, and of course, a cherry on top. For the drink, I also spied a can of Pepsi in this movie, so that's what I'm adding as well, except I only have this kind of Pepsi in my house right now, so that's what I'm going with. And there you have it, guys, a Home Alone inspired lunch. Yes! All right, Kenzie. I don't know what this is for. Movie theater popcorn? Yeah, I have no idea. Okay, it's because I want to make you a lunch themed after a movie that you've seen recently that you really liked. What movie is it? It's Zootopia 2. Now, you guys, we actually all love this movie. We saw it way back when we were visiting Utah for the holidays. Now, I would love to know in the comments down below how many of you guys have seen the new Zootopia 2 movie, and let me know if you liked it or not, because we certainly did. Now, since Judy and Nick are the main characters of this movie, I'm gonna start by making some sandwiches inspired by them. For my Judy sandwich, of course, I've got to use some garden veggie cream cheese. Then right on top of that, I'm going to add some shredded carrot. And you guys, both of these sandwiches are going to be a triple layer sandwich. Next, I'm going to add more veggie cream cheese, followed by some turkey. Now I'll just decorate the top with my food writer pen and a sandwich stamp. For the Nick sandwich, I'm keeping this one pretty simple, but I'm using a filling that's kind of like the color of Nick, sort of reddish brown. So this sandwich is definitely more on the sweet side, even though Nick can kind of be sassy and sarcastic. These sandwiches make the perfect partners. Now moving on to the fruit and veggies. In honor of Gary the Snake, I'm going to add in some Gary grapes. And to make these even more fun, I'm going to take a little gummy steak and I'm just going to hide this on top of the grapes. I think this will be really fun for Mackenzie. And then you guys, one of my favorite characters is definitely Flash the Sloth. So in honor of him, I'm going to add some sloth slaw. This is actually broccoli slaw. And to go along with this, I'm also going to add some of this poppy seed dressing on the side. And in honor of Giselle, who is a pop star, I'm just gonna add a few star-shaped carrots to the top. Now, since Zootopia is full of so many different animals, I'm also going to be adding some animal crackers. I did find the birthday cake ones. And then for a salty snack on the side, I'm also going to be adding in some Cheeto cheese balls. And these are in honor of Clawhauser, the cheetah. And now that brings me to a very special sweet treat. This sweet treat is very different than anything I've ever made. It has over 3 million views, you guys. This looks super easy, and I think there's only 4 ingredients, so let's give it a try. Now guys, I think this recipe is such a good idea, but I do want to change up the ratios just a bit. I'm gonna start with about 3 cups of Fruity Pebbles, and I'm going to give them a light crush. Next, instead of using a whole bag of pretzels, I'm just gonna use half. And instead of using a 12-ounce bag of white chocolate chips, I'm gonna use a 10-ounce bag of these vanilla melting wafers. I'm gonna pop these into the microwave for 30 seconds at a time until they're melted. And in this video, the creator puts some coconut oil in here, but I'm gonna reduce that to just half a teaspoon. I don't think I need a ton. So now I'm gonna pour this all over the pretzels, then mix them all up until they're all coated. And now for the fun part, I'm gonna add all of that cereal. I want my version to be extra crispy and coated, so I am gonna add just a little bit more. Now, I don't know if Mackenzie's gonna like these, but I tried them and I think they are delicious. I think you could swap out these ingredients so many different ways. Like if you use regular chocolate instead of white chocolate, that would be delicious. You could even use Cocoa Krispies instead of Fruity Pebbles. That sounds so good. And then lastly, for the drink, I'm gonna add some Lynxley lemonade. This might look sweet, but it's actually quite sour.
Before, after.
Okay guys, first up in our villain series is a lunch themed after one of the most dramatic Disney baddies of all time, Maleficent. She's elegant, mysterious, and yes, she turns into a fire-breathing dragon. Her colors are mostly black, purple, and green. So that's exactly the look I'm going for this lunch. Now I am making this one with my daughter Mackenzie in mind, and if you saw last week's summer camp lunches, you might remember I gave her an all green lunch that she totally loved. Now if you missed the summer camp lunch video, definitely go check it out. It is a fun one. I will link it down below. So from that lunch last week, she especially loved the chicken bacon ranch wraps. So today, I'm gonna make her something similar with a Maleficent twist. Now I'm gonna call these Maleficent Dragon Roll-Ups, and trust me, they're gonna taste amazing. I'm gonna start by making a super flavorful spread. For this, I'm gonna need 1 block of cream cheese. This is nice and soft and room temperature. That's gonna make mixing it together way easier. Then to this, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of ranch seasoning. Next, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of chopped black olives. Then after that, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of chopped green onion. And now for the dragon part. I'm gonna shred up some pepper jack cheese. So these dragon roll-ups are gonna be spicy, but not too spicy. And as far as how much cheese I'm putting in here, I don't actually have an exact measurement because I'm measuring with my heart. So once I have this all whipped up, it's going to be time to spread it onto the tortilla. And I'm using green tortillas, of course. These ones have spinach and an herb flavoring. They are really good, but they do tend to dry out quickly. And since I opened these last week, I really want to use them up. And as you can see, I'm spreading plenty of this cheese all over the tortilla. And to me, this cheese spread tastes very much like one of those cheese balls you might have at a party. Now this is totally optional, but I'm gonna add a few slices of turkey just to get some extra protein in there for Mackenzie. Next, I'm going to roll this up super tight, as tightly as I can. Then I'm going to pop this in the fridge while I fill the rest of the tortillas. This recipe actually makes quite a lot, and whenever I make roll-ups like these, I do like to let them chill in the fridge for just a little bit because I find them way easier to slice without everything squished pushing out. Now, as you can see, I did make some of these with turkey and some of them without. Both are tasty. But now I'm gonna go ahead and add these into our purple lunchbox because of course we're sticking with that purple, black, and green theme. Next up, fruit and veg. For our green color, I'm going to add some nice juicy grapes. And then for our purple, I'm going to dig through this bag of rainbow carrots to just pick out the purple ones. But to go with the carrots, of course, I'm going to add a little ranch on the side because around here, ranch is basically its own food group. Next, I'm going to add a salty snack because every good lunch needs a little crunch. I was able to find these guacamole tortilla chips at Walmart, and not only are they super tasty, but look at that color. That bold green color is perfect for this lunch. And speaking of green, next for this lunch, I'm going to add a little container of lime-flavored Greek yogurt. This is one of my kids' favorite yogurt flavors. It's tangy, it's creamy, and of course, I love that it's green. To make this extra fun, I do want to top it off with just a few green sprinkles. You guys, even villains deserve a little sparkle. Now I do want to add some sweetness to finish off this lunch. So first, I'm going to use some of this green pistachio spread to make a couple of 2-bite Maleficent Sammies. You guys, this is so delicious. It's not overly sweet, but it is really nutty. And honestly, it's the closest thing to Dubai chocolate that I've ever tried. And fun fact, you guys, I almost always roll out the top slice with a rolling pin before I stamp it. And I just realized that I never really explained why I do this, but basically it's because my little design will show up way better if the bread is a little bit flatter. And yes, I did go ahead and use some edible markers to add on the design. Now, just look at these. I mean, I know Maleficent is technically the villain, but these turned out so adorable. Now to finish off this magical Maleficent lunch, I'm going to add just a few yogurt-covered pretzels. This adds some extra sweetness and some crunch. And then for dipping those guacamole chips, I'm packing a small side of, guacamole. And lastly, for the drink, I grabbed a purple grape Honest Kids juice pouch. And there you have it, guys, Mackenzie's Maleficent themed lunch. It's colorful, a little spooky, but totally delicious. Today, I am kicking things off with a lunch request that I've been getting a lot recently, and that's to make an elemental themed lunch. Of course, that's in honor of the new Disney Pixar movie. But you guys, let me know in the comments down below if you have watched this movie yet. Now, I was able to watch this movie last week so that I would be able to make this lunch. And you guys, I thought the movie was really cute. It definitely reminds me a little bit of the movie Zootopia. So if you liked that movie, then you're probably gonna like Elemental. Now, I'm not gonna give away any spoilers, but basically, in a place where fire, water, land, and air residents live together, you have the main character, Ember, who is a fiery sort of person. And then you also have the other main character, Wade, who is more of a go-with-the-flow, laid-back kind of guy. And even though they are very different, they actually find they have a lot in common. So now you guys, back to today's lunch. Like I said, I got lots of different requests, but I really like the idea that sisters Audrey and Juliet from Florida sent in. For their lunch, I'm starting with the sweet treat first, since that's going to take a little bit of time to set up. Audrey and Juliet requested blue Jell-O. So this is just some blue raspberry Jell-O, and I'm going to make them in the Jell-O jiggler style. Now that just means you add a lot less water to the Jell-O. That way it comes out a lot more firm, and you can actually pick it up and cut it into shapes. Now I love the idea of adding blue Jell-O to an elemental themed lunch because there's a lot of water in this movie, so Jell-O goes perfectly with the theme. Now while the Jell-O is setting up in the fridge, I'm going to move on to the main course. And for this one, Audrey and Juliet requested spicy buffalo wings. And you guys, since my kids are the ones actually taste testing these lunches, I decided to go with these boneless buffalo wings because my kids like these a lot better and they're not too spicy. Now to cook these, I'm just going to add a couple to my air fryer for just a few minutes. Oh yeah, and I am testing out this new silicone air fryer liner. It's supposed to make cleanup a lot easier. Previously, I've been using some parchment paper air fryer liners, but I recently found out that those can easily catch on fire, which is not fine. So I'm not planning on using those paper kind anymore. Now, to go along with these hot wings, we definitely need a cooling element. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some ranch on the side to dip the chicken in, and I'm also adding enough ranch in here to go with our veggie that's coming up as well. Next, for their fruit, Audrey and Juliet requested strawberries and blueberries. That red and the blue definitely represent our main characters, and to make these extra fun, I just added them to some skewers. Now, to go along with this, they also requested bell peppers. I'm using a red one and a yellow one. And to go along with our theme, I'm going to cut them to look like the flame of a fire. Now for a salty snack, I'm adding both a spicy chip and a cooling chip. Now the spicy ones look like Pringles, but they actually taste like Takis, so they're definitely spicy. And then for the cooler chips, I have some mini Cool Ranch Doritos. Now honestly, these taste just like regular Cool Ranch Doritos. They're just a lot smaller. But honestly, I think these just look like the little broken chips that you might find at the bottom of a regular bag of chips. So definitely a little gimmicky. Although I do like a gimmick now and then. Okay, you guys, so now that our Jell-O is nice and firm, I can go ahead and add it onto our tray, and I just love how it jiggles. Now to make this dessert even more cool, I'm also going to add a dollop of Cool Whip. And then I also want to make sure to include that element of fire. So I'm just going to garnish the top of this with a few cinnamon sprinkles. Now, last but not least, for the drink, I'm starting off with some of these strawberry bursting boba. I'm going to add those to the bottom. And honestly, I probably added too many, but that's okay. And then to go with this, Audrey and Juliet requested blue Kool-Aid. I just love this combination of red with the blue. I think it looks so pretty. Plus, it goes really well with a fire and water theme for the movie Elemental.